Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. So today's video, we're going to talk about Carlee Russle. And for those of you that don't know who it is, it's this chick. There was something about her story that just didn't seem right. So, guys, Carlee Russle was a young woman who was supposedly kidnapped because she had saw a toddler walking on the side of an interstate, a highway. She gets out the car to help. She's on the phone with a family member, and somehow she goes missing after that. So on the phone with the family member, her family member just hears her scream, and then that's it. The phone line stays open, and 2 days later, Carlee Russle comes back home with an incredible story. Now, the reason why I sat on this video or refrained from doing this video was because the story sounded like Juicy Smollet's story. It sounded like bullshit. People, guys, especially people like myself, we can identify bullshit from a mile away. And at the first time I heard the story, I was like, this sounds like bullshit. You fucking kidding me? A toddler walking on a highway, she gets out of the car to help and then goes missing, and then 2 days later gets found. Not gets found, but makes it back home with no scratches on her, no kind of nothing. So upon letting this story simmer, I'm like, this is going to come out that this is bullshit. Now, nobody is saying it's bullshit yet, but I'm going to say it's bullshit because the cops cannot verify any part of her story. A toddler walking on a highway is going to have more than just one phone call from 911, if she even made that phone call, or if the family made it at all. You see a toddler walking on a highway, it's going to be a fucking 105 car pileup, because everybody's going to drive and go, what the fuck? And then boom, everyone, because this toddler is on an interstate highway by itself. And I think she said it was a boy, and I think it was a white toddler. That's even more weird. I mean, first of all, it's weird any toddler on the side of a road. Hell, you see an animal on the side of the road, you're like, what the fuck is that? You know, like a deer or a dog walking on the side of the road, or a cat. You're going to stare at it like, the hell is that? A child? So once that got reported, I was like, this sounds like bullshit, like right out of the gates. Again, no police, no other 911 calls for this kid on the side of the road. Then her car is left on the side of the road. Phone line was still open, or rather the phone was probably dead by the time the cops got there. And that was it. Now, they're going to find out where she was staying for the last 2 days. That's going to come up. But what I found even more suspicious was the fact that the family members, if I'm not mistaken, the mother and the father, are doing all of these interviews. And this Carlee character is nowhere to be seen. Saying that she suffers such a traumatic event, she can't do these interviews. But you can. And then you sit there and in the news and tell us we can't talk about any specifics about the case. That's bullshit. You can come out and tell us what happened to her. She can come out and tell us what happened to herself. But the fact that you can't mention anything means you're fucking lying. Or your daughter hasn't said anything to you and you still believe her stupid lie. Because when Juicy Smollett had his incident, he was out there, they jumped me, they beat me, they said MAGA, you know, this is MAGA country now, and all this other crazy shit. He gave us the specifics on what happened to him. The other red flag was there were no suspects found. There was no leading the cops back to the home where she supposedly escaped from. So all of that, guys, was just red fucking flag after red fucking flag, man. It was like bing, bing, bing. I'm like, and people are eating this shit up. The media keeps reporting this shit as if it's real. And no one in the media is questioning it. They're like, well, you know, there's certain things that just don't sound right. Everybody is believing it. Now, the story gets even better, if you will, because she sat there, not that she sat there, but somehow they got her phone. The cops looked through her phone, and they saw that she Googled how to steal from her job or how to steal from a cash drawer or something like that. She also Googled the movie Taken. Now, again, she Googles the movie Taken. She screams on the phone, and that's the last thing that her relative or family member heard before her phone dropped to the ground and she went missing. And the phone line stayed open, just like in the movie. Just pointing that out. She also Googled Amber Alerts or information on Amber Alerts. I don't know the specific on that. But, guys, again, all sounds too fishy. Now, some of you are going to sit there and go, well, why would she do such a thing? Well, she was probably in debt. I don't know. Maybe she needs some money. Maybe she wanted the attention. Maybe she wanted the money and the attention. Because with something like this, guys, when you can't verify it, and the cops have not verified one part of her story, people are going to be like, oh, the little poor Negro was stolen by some white guys. Let's start giving them donations. And the donations come flooding in. What is that called? The donation people that fuck everybody in the ass. Not group me, not follow me. GoFundMe. Sorry, I can't believe I can't. That, PayPal, all of that shit starts coming in. But being that a lot of questions are starting to be asked now, I'm hoping people who were about to donate or donated regret it, and people who are about to donate stop and go, whoa, this sounds a little too much like Juicy Smollett, or the bigger one, this is going to date me, Tawana Brawley. Now, Tawana Brawley was at the time, a young black teenager that staged a racial beating because she had broken up, or rather her cop boyfriend, who was a white cop, broke up with her. She threw a temper tantrum and said that she was raped by white guys and beat up by white guys, or something to that effect. Then the whole fucking story fucking fell apart. Now, that was back in the 80s. And what's his name? The big mouth guy, the fucking fat guy with the fucked up hair. Al Sharpton. That's who it was. That fucking bag of shit. You think he would have apologized to the city and be like, you know what, we screwed up, we shouldn't have jumped? Nothing. Her story fell apart. He just dipped back into the shadows. And he was quiet for a long time after that. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was embarrassed, but he was quiet for a long time after that whole incident went down. So, Juicy Smollett, Tawana Brawley, and the crazy thing about Tawana Brawley's case is that she actually carved whatever the hell she carved into herself, making it look like the white boys who beat her up or raped her or some shit, did that to her when she did that to herself. Juicy Smollett, he had two Nigerians beat him up. Two black guys supposedly beat him up, or rough him up, if you will. Not beat him up, but rough him up, and then said it was two white guys. And now this chick is saying that it was a toddler on the side of a road, that they tricked me into getting out of my car and seeing if this kid was okay, and then she went missing. With no other 911 calls out there. No other cars pulling onto the side of the road. The crazy thing about lying in this day and age, guys, especially with shit like that, is you are always going to be found out. The trails always go back to the lies. They always break you when it comes down to this shit, because there are cameras everywhere. There are cameras on the highway. There are cameras in everybody's front door now. Everybody got a fucking Ring doorbell. There are cameras all over the place. Those cameras are always accessed by the police. That's why I refuse to get one to begin with, because anybody can access that shit. Hackers, cops, government. But anyway, not the point. Point is, those cameras are everywhere. So at some point, guys, your lie is going to come to front. Your lie is going to be in the forefront. And then, what are you going to do? So when you come up with these lies, guys, it's just incredible. Like the people that lied about giving that homeless guy, money, that they were raising money from. They were doing a GoFundMe, and then they jerked that guy out of the money they were going to give him. And they were actually breaking him in on the scheme. But then they gave him nothing, and he blew them out of the waters, and that whole thing fell apart. When you lie, guys, and you lie for money and you lie for donations, it always fucking bites you in the dick. Hard. So people need to stop it. Now, interestingly enough, guys, America is talking about Carlee Russle, and yet nobody talked about the two white kids who were fucking caged like animals since birth in their homes by their mother and the mother's boyfriend. Now, the mother's boyfriend really had nothing to do with that. I'm going to do a video on that story probably later this week to look up more information. But the bottom line, guys, that story was the worst imprisonment story I've heard in a long time. Now, there was another one about the lady or the girl who was imprisoned by her parents. and she actually grew into the couch, or she was stuck to the couch basically. But she was left on the couch for so long, she grew into the couch. Imagine that. Imagine being fucking tied down that long and not and being told not to move, that you fucking actually fuse into the couch. But those stories don't get out there. But some lady faking her kidnapping, nationwide news. Two kids who are malnourished. They had so much shit in their hair, they had to shave it all off. And according to a psychiatrist, those kids are going to be useless to society because they are like animals. We don't hear that story, but we hear a fake kidnapping story all over the fucking nation. Anyway, guys, this is The Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.